I've known Marcy Svenningsen for a long time. I know her dedication to farmers. I know her dedication to ranchers. I know her dedication to rural life. I've seen it. She's now the state executive director of the Farm Service Agency. That means she got picked. That means somebody said, let's get Marcy, she can do this. And then you go through a process before you get the job. And by God, she got the job. So let's bring her in, get a chance. We're going to end up talking to her a lot on these trips down the road. And this is the first time as the state executive director. Marcy, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Oh, thank you, Joel.
So I'm just going to say to you, there's going to be so many things that you're going to have to operate with, whether it's for ranchers or farmers or, the food program. This is going to be a new day. You're in a position where you really can advocate, Marcy.
That's true. And it's exciting to be in that position. It's a little scary. There are so many different programs that impact producers in North Dakota. And, you always want to be accurate in the information that you're sharing. And so that's the scary side of it. But it is exciting to be able to have this opportunity to reach out.
Yeah. And I know that, like you said before, you're inheriting a great team.
It's wonderful.
Great team to work with. I want to talk a little bit about what you're, trying to get word out on, which is what's out there for these ranchers that suffered incredibly with the drought that we just went through in 2021. If you could, would you speak to that?
Absolutely. I would love to be able to do that. It's actually kind of exciting to be able to share some really good news. Ranchers, if they're looking in their bank accounts this week, you should see some money coming in from the Emergency Livestock Relief Program. There was $67 million that is going out the door to North Dakota ranchers. And how that money is allocated is it's going to be based on your 2021 livestock forage payment, the gross payment, and then you'll receive 75% of that gross payment in the form of an ELRP payment. And that you didn't have to do anything for it. We're basing it off from information we already have from last year's LFP program. So it'll just show up. Go ahead and check your accounts. It should be there by the end of the week. So we're really happy to be able to do that. The ranchers in our state, they are going to need this money.
So let's talk about that. How many counties qualify? What areas are we looking at?
By the end of last year, every county in North Dakota qualified because of the disaster and drought. And so producers had an opportunity to file applications for the livestock forage program. And we had over 11,000 applications from ranchers. And so last year we paid out over $82 million in the livestock forage program. And so it was a very popular program. We also had the ELAP program available for producers. That's the Emergency Livestock Assistance Program. That program paid out over $11 million last year. It was kind of designed to help where the livestock forage program didn't cover. So the ELAP program helped pay for transportation in case you needed to haul forage and water to your cattle. Just yesterday, they announced a program enhancement for that particular program so that now we are also going to help with transportation if you needed to take your cattle to forage. And that program is going to be retroactive back to January of 2021. So if you needed to have some assistance with, and it's over and above typical transportation, Joel. Every year, Greg and I haul the cattle out to pasture and we haul our cattle home. That's our normal transportation. It would be for things like you had to move your cattle from the pasture to a new forage area or a feedlot, maybe someplace else that you needed to be able to have extra food for them. That's where the transportation help will come in. And we'll help pay up to 60% of those additional transportation costs.
So, Marcy, obviously both you and I are trying to get word out to ranchers so that they can know that some help is on the way. But for those people that don't ranch, for those people that might be more from an urban background, maybe their question as they watch this is, Why? Commodity prices are high. The last time they bought a steak, it wasn't cheap, which means to them that beef prices must be doing just fine. Why are taxpayer dollars being used for something like this?
It's a really good question. And it's long been the case where if you look at the price you pay for beef in the grocery store versus what a rancher actually gets when they sell their calves or market their cattle, there is a big disparity there. And that's something that, we've had a lot of discussion about competitiveness in the market. But in this particular case, when we're talking dollars for these ranchers, I think people have to understand that and we had a lot of producers last year that had to do this. They had to liquidate part of their herd because there was not going to be enough forage for them to be able to maintain that whole herd. And so when a producer and a rancher has to go through those cows and make a decision on which ones he's going to keep and which ones he has to sell, not only is the loss there because you're selling part of your herd, but you're selling future revenue. I mean, that's a revenue stream for those producers. That's why we have cows. And so when you have to cut back on your herd, that's less revenue this year. And so that doesn't reduce your expenses necessarily, because you still have to go out and hay and do all the things that you do, buy feed, and feed itself went up over 50%, just trying to make sure that, and you had to haul it in a whole lot further, because when you have a whole state that is in the drought, like we were in North Dakota last year, that's a long way to haul hay and find hay. Yeah. So these producers, this is not going to make them rich. It'll help them. Bankers will be happy to see that it's coming, but this is just going to help them maintain at best.
I know that you're connected and that the Biden administration told you that we want you to do this job. If you could find a way to send up the chain a thank you on behalf of a lot of ranchers out there who are sick of the packers being able to just do whatever they want to do without the ranchers getting their fair share. And for the recognition that this is a problem, that genetics in a herd that you have to sell off matter too. So to me, Marcy, there's so much here for ranchers to talk about. And if there's anything I can beg of you to work on, it's to get after the packers, okay?
Totally agree. Totally agree. I'm on board with that.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for coming down the road with us.